Hello, how is everyone? Hello, anyone there? I have the wrong glasses. Hi, Lippy Legs. Let's see. Is Karen here yet? Oh, she's here. Hi, FC. FC, I was busy getting so I can let you know again what we were talking about, okay? I wasn't blowing off our conversation. Hello, Karen.
Hi.
Look what I wore. Oh, did you wear the same thing too? But look,
What?
I wore it so that I could match with your couch.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to be coordinated today. You think I joke.
No, I know you're not joking. I know
I
you're not
know,
joking.
that's why you're laughing. Okay, let me get this. I was so into Ioana was having a talk just a few minutes ago about the inner child, and
Mm-hmm.
I was so into that talk that I'm totally unprepared. And then I was laughing because I was like, well, doesn't it make sense I would be unprepared for my own talk? Of course. That's classic. Anyway, that's it. Hi, we made
Hi.
it.
I
Okay, so
know.
here's what I have to say. Oh, it's backwards.
Yeah.
Acceptance is key.
Yeah.
That is the
100%.
important message for June.
Yeah.
Well, for life, but really for June, that is it.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm a bit tired. Not had
Yeah.
the best of the last couple of days. I was like, oh, I need to somehow not look so drained.
Yeah, I feel you. I know what you're saying. My yeah, I hear you. I tried to do my hair when I just got out of the shower, and it is what it is. It's just it is what it
It's
is.
9 p.m. in the evening here
Yeah.
in the UK.
And you've
And
already
at 8 o'clock, I was like, oh, I need to make an effort here. So it's like, okay, I'll make an effort.
yes. Well, you've had a busy morning because what happened? You already listened to Dr. Herbst. I missed that one. I
No,
missed
that was at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
yeah, so you've already done that today.
Mm-hmm.
That was your 4 o'clock, so that means that
Yeah,
was 8 o'clock. I don't think I ever saw anything about that.
yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a replay, so I'll just get that. Um, and then after this, we have the update from Dr. Roxon as soon as we hang up.
What now?
We have the update from Dr. Roxon.
What now?
So
Oh, okay.
you can go to bed at 11. It's okay. Just you can listen to it in bed.
Okay.
So would you like to tell your story first, or would you like me to tell my story first?
No, you tell yours. I think it's your platform. Um, I think we've worked. I mean, if we weren't in this position, if we hadn't been in lockdown, the way we have been, I know for sure that I wouldn't have seen all the webinars that I have, learned all the new ways of treating the illness, met so many different wonderful people from different walks of life, and connected with so many different people, all the new opportunities that are coming up. Like it's huge. And we've me and you and several others, we have not stopped working to raise awareness this month. I think it's been the most fantastic month on record for probably the last 4 years.
I think that's probably
I
true.
think it's been extreme. I think we've really hit the outside market, and the target of helping people, or women, if you like, understand about lipedema who didn't know about lipedema. There's though everybody in the community who knows about lipedema. That's great, but we want to hit the next target, which is outside of that, and I think we're continuing to prove, you know, that this is there, and we can do as much as we can to help.
Yeah.
And I think by telling our stories, we open up, we allow people in, we become vulnerable, which I think is huge.
Yeah.
And I think becoming vulnerable, it gives everybody a real insight to the real us. We can, social media, a whole bunch of people, social media, you can hide yourself. You can be whoever you want to be, but that doesn't mean to say that that's the real you. So the stories that we tell are the real us.
Right.
We're,
Right.
like I've said in my post, we are real women, real lives, and these are real stories.
Right. Yeah. And I think, that's one of my thing that I pride myself on my platform is that I'm just, I'm a real woman doing
Yeah.
real talk. That's it. I'm not a mystery. You
No.
can see me one day, on a runway, or another day, like this morning in my my junky bathroom in my guest house that, before I'm going to go jump in the pool, and no
Yeah.
makeup, and belly hanging out. And yeah, I'm usually doing that to make a point,
It
but
yeah, but
it's
that's we're
part of the journey. Yeah.
exactly being real, and being real to people, focusing on being real.
Right.
I think that probably attracts more anyway.
Yeah.
There's
You
nothing
just gave
fake.
me an idea. I should do a poll on how many people learned about this lipedema awareness this month
Mm.
on my page. I should do that.
There's we you within the lipedema community, I see it all the time from women from our support pages. They
Yeah.
come to the support pages because they can't talk outside of those pages. They can't talk to their family. They can't talk to their friends. And I think it's taken me a while to my profile, my Instagram, my website, everything there is the truth. I don't think there's any reason to hide the truth.
Right.
But this is a lot of people see having this illness as embarrassment, as they're scared of letting people know. And I think we've given it a good shot of like, you can live your life. You don't have to hide this. You can be a woman with lipedema,
Right.
and you can live your life.
Right. You can live a full life. You can thrive,
Absolutely.
and you can do what other people do, and you
Yeah.
can wear
Have
what
your
other
good
people
days,
wear.
have your bad days. That's what living is. That's what being a human is.
Right.
And I think that's we've really given it a real good shot of, this is who we are as a community, not who I am, not who you are, but as a community, this is
Right.
who we are.
Right.
So yeah, tell us your story.
Okay. All right. So where do I begin? Um, so it's funny. I did a interview yesterday that'll later get released, and now I'm just thinking of all the things that I said in that interview, thinking, oh, wait, did I already say that? Um, so I pretty much am a case where I had it from birth. And I probably want to say it started to show itself around the age of 6, because you can see like a picture from when I'm 4 to when I'm 6, and then I'm like a little chubby when I'm 6. Or I look like normal, like all the other kids. But when I look at, like, there's a picture I have of when I was 18 months, and I look at the little ankle sock, And, I don't have, I have defined calves and ankles. But when I look at that picture, I'm like, oh, was that already like a thick, was that a thick calf already?
Mm.
So it's really fascinating. Um, and when I was about 8, I was very concerned about, I've told this story before, going in a canoe in Girl Scout camp because I thought my leg was going to sink the boat once I put one leg in. Like, I wasn't even worried about getting in the boat totally. I was worried that if I put my leg in the boat was going to sink. So I guess inherently I knew my leg was heavy, you know. Um, and I had to go, at that time I had to go to the boys department to get the um, fancier jeans that, or the brand jeans that, you know, whatever, made sense. And that was mortifying. But then probably when I was about 8th grade, I think my mother put me on my first diet when I was in the 4th grade, and it was really what would have been low carb because I had to have yogurt and sunflower seeds was my snack. And but we always in my house we always ate very clean because my mother had this as well, unbeknownst to anyone. She passed away way before it even was
Yeah.
thought. But she was always dieting, and she did Overeaters Anonymous, which was like the early no carb, zero carb kind of thing. She did what was she would have an egg for breakfast, a can of tuna fish for lunch, and a piece of meat and maybe iceberg lettuce, like even a cup. I don't even know if she had that much for dinner, and that's what she had. And she had tremendous results. She lost her regular weight, but she still had it. She was very round in the thighs and in the butt. She had the butt shelf kind of thing. So I just always thought, I was never one who thought that it was odd. I just thought I'm Italian, like my mother. I have my mother's shape and this is it. But when I was getting into the 8th grade, then I must have been, filling out. And so my thighs were becoming thicker, my hips, my butt. And I remember my cousin saying, oh, you're going to want to lose that over the summer before you go to high school because the boys are not going to like big legs like that. And so I, got sent to Weight Watchers and had, even then, oh my God, even then had very little results. And I grew up in New York, so being the good New Yorker, I would have a half of a Lender's bagel, which was like pre-made in the freezer, like you buy it in the store, as opposed to going to a real bagel shop, because a bagel from a bagel shop would have been about 3 times the size of that. And then I would have half of it with a slice of diet American cheese. That was my breakfast every day. And
How old were you?
so in the 8th grade, so that was like 12,
Yeah.
12. Um,
Do you
and
remember
then,
when?
and
Do
then
you remember
started the
when that
diet.
started? Like from the age that you were, do you remember when that started? Because that starts the pattern of issues with food in children, like that
Well, no,
roller
I mean,
coaster.
I went on my first diet in the 4th grade, so I was
Right.
what, 8? I was 8 years old. So
Yeah,
from the
pretty
time
much.
I was 8
So
years old, it's
yeah,
conditioned that I had to be on a diet,
yeah,
that I wasn't right the way that I was.
yeah. So
Um,
that's roughly around the same time. Like I got my dad flagged up. She there's a problem,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
was
I don't remember what the doctor used to say. I have this mole on my nose here, and this mole it's raised mole now. But when I was a child, it was a tiny, like a little dot, and my mother didn't like it, but was flat. And the doctor used to say, no, she's like, can you take it off her? And the doctor used to say, no, I will not take it off of her because that's what makes her her. That is what makes her unique. And so then when I got older, then it was getting raised. And probably by the time I graduated college, it had raised a bit, and then I went to see a plastic surgeon, and they said, "Oh, you don't want to take that off now. You don't want to take that off till after you have a baby because it's just going to grow, and where it's located, it's going to have to come out, and it'll make a dent." And so it was kind of like, well, would you rather have a dent in your nose or a raised mole? You're still going to have something on your, and they're like, it makes you you. And so this whole message of like you're unique, it was that was an okay message about my face, right? But it was not an okay message about my body ever until now. Now it's a great message because
Mm.
everybody is unique, and if everybody would just, if they would have told me about my body probably would have stayed the same size that it was, which
Yeah.
was like I weighed like 140 pounds in high school, and I thought that I was a beast. That's absurd. Um, and so anyway, so then I went to college. When I went to college, I, I promptly gained the freshman 15 probably in the first 2 months. You're supposed to do that in the first year. I probably did it in the first 2 months, but it was because all of a sudden I was and through my life, I thought wasn't active, but I did ballet, tap, and jazz from first grade through 12th grade. I was on the baton team. I was on the kick line from 7th grade through 12th grade. When we had dance things, I was like a choreographer at school. So I was very active. And then, in the summers, I would roller skate and I would go to disco and all that kind of thing, go out dancing. And so I was always doing something, but I just
Yeah.
didn't think I was active because I was not on a sport. I didn't play tennis or lacrosse or hockey or, volleyball or whatever was there to play, track. Um, but I was always moving. And so then I go to college and now I can eat whatever I want, as much as I want. And I can also, I'm not exercising. I mean, yes, I would still go out dancing every, Saturday night, but that was, 3 hours or something.
Mm.
That was much different than what I previously been doing. So I did gain the weight, and I would make the choices of if there was a carb, I was going to eat it because, they would give you a scoop of rice and then they'd say, "Oh, would you like a little more?" "Oh, yes, please." I thought I was getting something, and that didn't help. And that was when kind of plus modeling sort of came around because I would then had to go to a plus size store, and then I would go in the store and they would be like, the manager would hand me the card, or there'd be like a agent in the store and they'd be like, "Oh, you should come model for us." And so over the years, I did get a number of different offers to come in and meet and all of that. But I went to school about 2 hours away from Manhattan, in New York, and so my mother would always be like, "You're a college student. You're not a model. You what are you going to do? You can't quit college to go model. Nobody does that." And so pretty funny, really. Little did we know. And so anyway, so then I moved to California when I graduated, and then started working. And when I started working, I kind of thought that this is a good one. I thought that if you brought your lunch to work, it made you look poor. So you always wanted to look like the position you wanted to go toward.
Yeah.
You wanted to look like a manager. If you were
Yeah.
entry level, you wanted to act like a manager. So the manager went out to lunch. So I was like, well, I have to go out to lunch. And so I would go out to lunch, and at that time they they served big portions, but they would serve bread on the table. Around here nowadays, they don't really serve bread on the table anymore. You kind of have to ask for it, but they would serve bread. And so I would see bread, like, I don't eat this at home. I'm going to eat it out. But then I
Yeah.
was eating it every day, and I was eating a way bigger lunch than, and then I grew up with, you have to eat what you're given because
Hmm.
it's polite otherwise. Or, yeah, anyway. And so then I gained weight there. But then I went on some extreme diets, went on some medically supervised fasts and things like that. And then I would lose it. But every time I would lose it, then my waist would be smaller and my hips would be bigger and my thighs would be bigger. And so, um, yeah, so that was kind of a, interesting thing. And then, I had a bunch of moves. I had a bunch of trauma. My mother passed away. That was very traumatic. So I kind of went, although I was, I worked and I was, um, I traveled and I still did regular things, but I was kind of underground during that time.
Mhm.
And I put on a tremendous amount of weight again because I was going out and I was eating out now lunch and dinner, and I gained like 100 pounds, I think, and that was a tremendous amount at that point. And then I later gained even more. So eventually I got to the point where I needed some intervention, and worked, with doctors to start that process, and ended up, being very consistent in eating exactly what I was supposed to and exercising 6 days a week for about 2 hours a day. And I managed to lose 200 pounds. And then over the, next couple of years, I forget how many years in between there, couple of years later, probably 4 years later, maybe, I guess. Then I had my son, I guess.
Mhm.
And when I had him, I was still on the perfection track. So I did not gain weight while I was pregnant. I gained the baby weight, but by the time I had a cesarean because he was breech, and by the time I left the hospital, I was the same weight as when I went in. And so that was, I did not have a surge. And I believe, in my opinion, that was because I was so to the, I was to the T. I did not
Mhm.
differ in any way. In the last week, the only thing I did, and I was a gym rat for the first 6 months of pregnancy, and then the last 3 months I had to go to water exercise because the perinatologist thought that I needed the um, manual lymphatic drainage from the pool that the pool would provide, and I thought he was crazy. I had no idea what he was talking about. And really, he's like, because you don't want to get swollen ankles or swollen legs, and this will help you. And sure enough, he was right. And the only time I ever got any kind of swelling was in the last week. And it was, really hot, like 100 degrees in LA that last week. And I didn't go to the pool because it was a little too far from the hospital. And I added, because I used to eat a cheese stick for my snack in the afternoon. And I literally added, I think it was 10 exactly, little round spelt pretzels to like I would stick them over the cheese stick so that I have something crunchy to eat. And of course, I was convinced that the only reason why my legs were swelling that week was because I ate those, 10 pretzels each day. Because, it was always, for me, it's always been about what I do and what I could do better.
Yeah.
So that's been, my experience. I think, and then somewhere I got a concussion. I was in treatment for a concussion, went to a new physical therapist. She was very thorough. She's doing all these, feeling all over my body. She's touching my knee pads. She's touching my elbows and my upper arms. She's touching my toes. She's asking me, "Oh, have you always been shaped like this?" And I was like, "Of course, I'm Italian. What are you talking about?" And so, and so she's like, "Oh, okay." And she was very gentle and kind and didn't, that was it. And that was a Friday. And I was coming back to her on Monday. And on Saturday, a friend had been doing keto. And she was telling me about her keto coach. And she said, but if I had to do it again, I would use Keto Katrina. So I'm like, let me look up Keto Katrina because I knew that protein has always worked best for my body. And so it wasn't going to be anything strange or new or whatever. I had my gallbladder out, so I wasn't too thrilled about the fat point. I didn't know what kind of effect that was going to have
When
for
did
me.
you have that?
My gallbladder, um, I don't know, 2003, like when I was at my heaviest.
So I had
Um,
mine removed when I was at my heaviest.
hmm Yeah. I think that I have concluded that that probably has some impact in, I have a little bit above my belly button now, right in the center. And it's kind of,
I have scars that sort of one there, and then it
yeah,
goes down 2, 3, 4 into the belly button. So there's 4, and they kind of went keloid as well, like a keloid
yeah,
scar.
yes, which I think has a
I
little to
think
do
that's the
with
reason
your
why my
spine.
tummy is so affected
Yeah.
by lipedema.
Yeah, and mine, I have like a little roll between my belly button and my C-section scar. And Dr. Herbst said last year that that was for sure from the trauma from the surgery. And so anyway, um, so at some point she says this, and I look up Keto Katrina the next morning, and I'm like, oh my God, this is my life. Like, what in the world is this? Are you kidding me? And how is it possible that I've been to all of these doctors for all of these things? And, you know, even physical therapists, I've been to a million physical therapists for, you know, knee injury, or I used to get tennis elbow back when I was, you know, I had to write a lot of reports and they had to be handwritten. Um, and so it was like, wait a minute, you know, is that a connective tissue? Is that really related? You know, kind of thing. I did get, I forgot this part, I did get diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome right when I went to college, and they immediately put me on birth control. So perhaps, you know, that little, you know, weight gain also had something to do with that, because I'm
Yeah,
sure that was another estrogen thing, since we know that that's a big piece for this disease.
yeah. So mine
And
would have been like the marina coil.
uh-huh.
So there's so many similarities. It's unreal.
Yeah, crazy. And then and so in any case, a few months, so I'm in the midst of like really dealing with a huge concussion that was really slightly insurmountable. I mean, I never stopped, but it was daily headaches all day long that were, I couldn't focus or think or do anything really, except that like nobody but me knew it. Like even, you know, I mean, I tried to hide it pretty well, um, but in any case, so I finally, that was in July, and I finally saw Dr. Eicher in October, and she was like, what are you here for? And I was like, who referred you? Oh, I referred myself. Oh, and what are you here for? Oh, I'm here to see if I have lipedema. And she's like, is there a question? I was like, well, it kind of looked to me from what I read, it was pretty clear, but and she's like, oh, darling, you're classic. You are classic lipedema. Small top, big bottom, and you are classic. And then she did some things to confirm and whatever. And then in the first month, we tried to do weekly decongestive therapy appointments in her office. But I had also, at that time, I had just been in about 6 months of working out very steadily with a trainer and on my own, and then also eating basically um, 4 protein bars and shakes a day, and then having one a piece of protein and vegetable at night. And so maybe I had 800 calories a day, and so I lost about 30 pounds then. But I didn't have a sensitivity then to um, I didn't have a sensitivity to those things. Now I have a sensitivity to almost any sweetener, so those products are not working for me, and that was why I decided to do carnivore for the June. But in any case, so when after the month was up and it didn't work out, that there wasn't any change, she was like, yeah, there's not any change. This is no surprise because you have nothing to change. You are only lipedema fat left. That is what is left on your body. And at that time, I remember I had been to the beach with a friend and, you know, his kids, and the kids were teenagers, and they saw my arm, and my arm was not like, you know, you can see how my arm hangs, but this was literally like just skin. There was no fill to it, and it was just skin, and they were like, oh, Beth, what happened to your arm? And I was like, oh. like, that's not good. Like, that must look really scary. Like, I didn't think of it. Like, I'm used to it. And they were both so concerned. And I was like, oh, that's just how my arm looks, because I've lost some weight. And they're like, yeah, we know, but oh my gosh, like, does it hurt? Like your skin is just hanging there. They were like, oh my gosh, this is pretty funny. Um, and then, um, and then after that, she was like, you really need to have surgery, really, because that is the only way, and you will not believe how different your life will be, because you will be freed up of so much pain, and so much, your body will be free to operate as it should. And so I went down the path of talking to some surgeons, and I went and had the lymphoscintigraphy test to see if I had any lymphedema involved, and that concluded that I didn't at the time. And the two surgeons were both like, yes, oh my God, you need to have this done so that you can just live freely, because you're just constantly being weighed down. And this lipedema fat really weighs more than regular fat, and you won't even believe the change in your life. So okay, whatever. But I was very concerned that I had had this concussion that I was still trying to fix, and there was no way I was going under anesthesia. So they between all of us, we all kind of concluded that probably doing a local type treatment was not going to work for me because of the volume that had to be addressed. And I would probably, I think at that time I talked to two surgeons only. I think I talked to two surgeons, and they were in agreement, and Dr. Eicher as well, all thought that I probably would need to have 4 surgeries just to attack the areas that needed to be handled, because of the limits that they have with what they can take. And so in any case, so put that on the back burner, and went about my business, and went to the FDRS conference in 2018, got involved with volunteering and modeling, and really couldn't believe that there were people that looked like me. That was just astonishing to me. And all of the information from all of the presenters was amazing. And I really felt, wow, this is a community that is really, I need to be a part of. And I was not really on social media. I guess I had just been on social media for about a year. No, 2016, I went on social media. And then I guess maybe the end of 2018, I went on Instagram finally. But I was just looking at Instagram. And then at the beginning of 2019, I decided, you know what, I'm going to come out, because I hadn't told anybody that I had this fat disorder, because who the hell wants to say they have a fat disorder? Not only are you fat, but you have a fat disorder. I mean, talk about pain, right?
I know. I know.
And so, anyway, I have to hurry up.
You don't have to hurry up.
It was, I decided it's my mission now that I'm going to let people know that this disease, lipedema, exists. And more importantly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let my little tiny town in Los Angeles, California, where everybody is in the entertainment industry and looks like they are, I'm going to let you know that it is okay to have a booty. Because I had sort of gone on an awakening journey starting in 2016 to start loving myself and my body and really getting back to who I was, which was very involved with fashion, very involved with fitness, very involved with proper eating, involved with, self-development, that kind of thing. And so I'm just going to let everybody know, really, it's okay. And so that was how I started, which was, kind of a joke, really. And then I think just as I was getting to June, the week before, I put up a bikini picture, and Instagram shadow banned me. And I was like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Like, no, is it that horrific that you can't allow me to put this up? Yeah. And so I didn't know anything. And so that kind of shot me in the foot for the Lipedema Awareness Month because you had to not be on uh, Instagram for a couple of weeks. And so my June didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. So I really started to, I think I did my first live in last June. Um, Mid-June, I went to a convention for Plexus, which was this gut health company that I was doing stuff with. And so I started doing the lives from there to, you know, whatever. And then I went to New York and did a casting call and, you know, kind of did lives from my trip there. And then by the time I came back, I was into all kinds of photo shoots when I got back. And it just kind of started going from there, and did my body positive photo shoot at the end of August. And so it has been, you know, really quite a journey to not only for my plus modeling, which really, you know, has taken a lot of different variations so far over the past year, but really with this lipedema awareness. And then I, you know, managed to start getting male followers. And I was like, well, okay, what's that? How's that working out for my lipedema awareness? Like, I'm supposed to be talking to women to tell them you can go on your awakening journey and love yourself at any minute, and um, you can, uh, you can accept yourself at any second, and your life will be different when you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, how is that going to work out? Like, for talking to men about this. And then I realized men have the same issues, first of all. So nobody should think they don't, because they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then second of all, I thought, you know what? Men like women that, the men that are following me like women that look like me. So they actually need to know about this disease. And P.S., it was also around the time where we were getting, here in the U.S., some of the insurance companies were starting to take note. They were getting class actions and things like that. And P.S., who is the insurance company gonna listen to if they call them? The women who call or the men who call, who say, guess what? My girlfriend needs this surgery, you need to cover her. Or my wife needs to have this, you need to cover her. If I call and say it, it's one thing. If my man calls and says it, it's a different ear, it's a different, they listen to it differently. And so I thought, you know what, this might not be so, this might be a double duty grassroots effort, because, you know, maybe somebody is going to get pissed and really bring it forward, and there's going to be traction. And so, you know, that's been my situation. I think also I've realized that just as we have all been shamed because, you know, we haven't fit into the media for all these years, so have the men. The men haven't, you know, the men are afraid to admit that this is what they like, because this is not what they've been taught to like either. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's really circuitous. Um, I still, at this point in my journey, am, you know, assessing what am I going to do. Obviously, as you know, I've been carnivore this month. I've been doing, you know, added back some exercise. I've been vibration plating like crazy. I've been dry brushing. I've been doing some reflexology. I've been wearing compression, my lipoelastic compression. And so it's all been very helpful, because even this morning I was noting how different, how loose my legs are. And last year I did have the opportunity to have an official consult with Dr. Karen Herbst, because I thought she's going to tell me that if I stood on my left leg and raised my right arm and took 3 pills on Tuesday at 8, then it would go away. And I knew she was going to have the magic. That was just going to work for me. And she said, when are you going to have surgery? What are you waiting for? And I was like, oh no, because that's not her first, that's never her first
No,
answer.
no.
But she knew my case, she knew my story. We had met many times before. You know, this wasn't you know, it wasn't out of the blue. And she was like, I was like, when do I have to do it? And she's like, what are you waiting for? What, you know? And so, of course, there were some other things, that other health issues that have come into play since then. And so I still keep trying to see what could be different. So in this month coming up, you and I are going to do 3 days of concise exercise. We're going to
Yeah.
continue with the keto, carnivore, and
Oh God, yes we are. Yes we are.
yes,
Yes we
I
are.
know.
Yes we are. Yes we are.
And we are going to, and I'm going to start implementing some fascia blasting and some like washa ish. I did my first fascia blasting, official fascia blasting last night, and I actually did it over some smoothers. But I noticed this morning when I woke up, I do have like 3 tiny bruises in my knee. I was like, come on, really? God, I'm
Yeah, but
so delicate. It's just annoying as hell.
the thing is, like I've said to a lot of people, a lot of people think that the fascia blasting tool is something that you use quite hard and fierce.
No, no, this
And
is slow.
I've never promoted that. I've always said light and
Look,
brisk.
this is like what I did, like
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
just over my, and this is just barely touching my skin,
yeah.
and it was
So for
over one
us,
layer.
for somebody who has lipedema,
Yeah,
that is actually quite you can feel it. It's quite you can say that that's quite painful when you like when you, somebody who doesn't have lipedema who does it, and you can see them really, and you think to yourself, oh my god, I could not do that on my legs or my arm. That's why there's so much tension, I think, around the fascia blaster. We don't want to cause bruises, and I promote that. Like at the end of the day, if you do it light and brisk and it takes you longer, great.
yeah, yeah,
Slowly wins the race. And that's that's been my effort from the start. I've been fascia blasting for 3 years. It's taken me a long time
yeah.
to go from one thing to the next thing. Now I'm trying different treatments,
Right.
different treatments, different ways of dealing with the disease itself. So it's exciting. It's exciting. I feel like everything that we've learned like we've been taught this month, is opening up new opportunities of how to treat people.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's all that I have to say. I do think I should go back and say one thing. So from my diagnosis, I have, my scale is officially up between 20 and 25 pounds because I
Oh,
added in
I
all
knew,
kinds of foods that I had never eaten.
but
What
you're
happened?
down now.
Well, I don't know. This month, I didn't go on the scale today. I'm going to go tomorrow,
Yeah,
and I should be down somewhere between 5 and 8 pounds
yeah.
because who the hell knows what.
And
You're
then
going to
you're
hear
not
the
going to go on the scale until the end of
I
July.
correct. I'm going to give up the scale for July.
Good.
I did eat some of the Rice Krispie cake that I made over the weekend, so that has wreaked havoc as well. So, and then that
But if you're
thyroid.
going to do it right. If you're going to do it right.
Well, exactly. I couldn't, I hear Dr. Emily Eicher in the background going, listen, you have to live your damn life. So, if one day out of 30, I had a freaking piece of Rice Krispie cake, oh well, too bad. It was gluten free. I mean, anyway. But I have been, so I have, from that point where I had lost the 30 pounds, then I've gone up and, Zoe was talking about today that she doesn't understand why she weighs so much, but she can wear the same clothes. And I'm pretty much in the same boat. I can wear the same clothes. They don't look the same, but they fit on my body. They wouldn't have fit on my body before. In that 25 pounds. It just wouldn't have happened. And I think that it's simply because the lipedema fat is taking up so much fluid that's what's producing the weight. So I think that that's really what the case is. But I have never felt as good at this weight. I've been this weight at least twice in my life, on the way up and on the way down.
Mm-hmm.
And now. Um, um, and so it really does have to do with what what your state of mind is. And I think if you can really consider that you're unique and you're fabulous as you are, and that there's a season for everything. And especially now with this lockdown, I mean, really, we're all in survival mode, and we really all should be gaining weight because we don't know if we're ever going to have another meal, really. Like, we don't know. Is the food supply going to go out? We don't know.
No.
So for the people who are in that situation of you know, they've gained weight during the lockdown. Guess what? You're doing what you're supposed to do, really. Your body has overridden your mind, and it's doing really what it knows that instinctually it needs to do for survival. It's really simple. Plus, the
Yeah.
cortisol level is through the roof, and cortisol just immediately converts everything to fat. So there's that
Mm-hmm.
too.
Mm.
So that's what I have to say. I didn't give you much time. So I think you
That's
have about
okay.
10 minutes.
That's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry.
But you're much more
My
concise. You just wrote your whole story, so you should know exactly what there is to tell us.
um my story's been told so many times. That's why I was like, you know, it's good for you. No, but it's good for you to tell your story. I think your audience needed to hear your story.
Yeah.
If you wanna know my story, go to www.sculptchangetherapies.com. It is in Karen Windsor, my story. Everything's there that you need to know. For me, I think one of the things that I probably will bring up is I'm like an in-betweenie at the moment. So I'm like an in-betweenie in size, whether we're in the plus size or normal size. I'm like in the bracket right down the middle. So I'm like in no man's land. And I'll get no, you can't be in that one, but you can't be in that one. And I find that a little bit hard sometimes, because I don't know whether I'm fighting to get into that one or I'm trying to stay in that one.
Right.
So and then I get a lot of
psyche.
You don't, you know, I get a lot of sorry, Zach, no, you go.
I think that plays a huge part in the psyche, right? Because your body has been used to, well, forget your body, actually. Your mind has been used to being associated for much more time in the plus size than it has been in not the plus size. And
I'm a UK 12-14. So sometimes, and then Fashion Nova, like Fashion Nova, your brand, I'm a size 7 and a 9, which works out to a UK 10, which is just ridiculous. But I have the trousers to prove it, the jeans to prove it. So yeah, I'm completely in between. So I'm a 12-14, but I'm a very athletic build now. So I can see that when I stand. I've had quite a few messages saying that my shoulders are beginning to look quite manly, and my figures.
Wait a minute. Men or women telling you this?
Huh?
Is this men or women telling you this?
Both.
Okay.
So you kind of no, I don't like. So you kind of don't know. You kind of don't know where you sit. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a weird one. I get a lot of oh my God, you look amazing. You don't look like you've got the illness. And I think, oh my God, if the last 2 days I've had nothing but issues. So I kind of find it, I think there's the size thing, I'm in between. And then there's the illness itself, I'm in between. Because I'll have a lot of women look at me and go, I want to look like you, which I find, that's the biggest compliment ever. Right. But the last couple of days, I've had some serious pain because of the illness. I do find the more natural fat that has come off my body, I'm actually in more pain.
Right, which I think is a common occurrence. I think the reason why, this is my very unprofessional opinion about that, and it is that I think that the natural fat, when it is combined with the lipedema fat, I think it
holds it. Yes, it holds it. It encases it.
Yes, it cushions the lipedema, and it's not just having the lipedema hit on each other. No. So I think that there's something to be said for that. I think what you do have to tell the people briefly is that you used to be a different size, what you did to get to where you are today, to as a little, 2-minute elevated thinking.
100%. Listen, 100%. I am proud of my achievements.
Yeah.
I used to be
But can you give us,
so resentful of all these illnesses. I was so jealous. I wanted to look like so many of my friends. I was gutted that I couldn't be this kind of person. And now I'm finding the real Karen and the real me, and I look in the mirror. I like my the athletic frame. I look in the mirror and I think, oh my God, I've actually got abs on my tummy. I can see my obliques. I can see my quads, my calves. Men would kill for the calves that I've got on my legs, but I've worked hard for that. I've worked hard to prove these theories. But sometimes, and this is again psychological, I'm stuck in that in between phase.
right.
I don't know where I fit.
But that is in your head. So Karen, I'm not going to share this with you, so I'm going to. So Karen used to weigh 200 pounds more than she does now.
Yeah.
And she, through many different reasons, decided that she was going to take hold of that, that weight and try to start making a change and an impact in her health and reducing her size. And so she started doing that through proper eating and proper exercise, and managed to, over the years, keep refining and keep tweaking and keep trying the next thing to trick her body into the next level. And
I'm always tricking my body. I'm literally tricking my body on like this month with keto carnivore. It's a trick. I've tricked my body again.
And it works, right?
Yeah, and it's worked.
Right, your arthritic pain is gone.
Getting there. It's nowhere near what it was. I mean, at the beginning of lockdown, I was panicking. Now, we're getting to a point where I'm like, have I got to eat like this for a while longer to prove even more of a theory? I mean, the things that I do for treatment for clients, I probably was neglecting myself a little bit because I was tired, or, who in their right mind wants to take their work home? Like when you're with people all day long and then you take your work home and you've got to then work on yourself.
Right.
It's tiring. But whilst being in this position, I've had an opportunity to really work on myself and figure out new ways of treating myself. I mean, I've got a lot of people who are like, are you going to do this? Are you going to bring this in? Is this going to work? Is this going to happen? And I'm like, yeah, let's try. Let's see what happens.
Let me try it on myself first. Yeah, so you're the guinea pig also.
I have always been the guinea pig. I think for the last 14 years of my life, I've always been the guinea pig. I always try these things on myself first. I've had people turn around to me before and be like, oh, what are you doing? Or what, Karen? Like, nobody's going to go down. And then these things have turned into, they've become practical, and I've managed to implement them into my life. It comes the same with like diet. I hate the word diet, but with different eating plans, different eating, different styles. I've guinea pigged them on myself first. I've had, from a very young age, I didn't even realize I was doing it because I was made to do it. So it's always been something that comes along. I'll be honest, my relationship with food probably isn't great because I've had to work out what I can and can't do to suit my body the whole time. So I don't really look at food and think, oh, I'm looking forward to my dinner tonight, or I'm going to enjoy that. That's not how it works for me. I know I have to eat because I need to survive, but I also need to eat the right food to help my body and my illnesses. So it's never, and I'm very clever in that I have tricked my brain to think of certain foods as like poison. So that they like, for me, if I'm in a group of people, it doesn't bother me that they're eating whatever they're eating. But a lot of people can't sit in a room around a lot of people and see people eating something without thinking, oh, I might just have just a tiny, I can't do, for me, I see it and I'm like, poison, not going to do it.
Yeah. I had that when so a week ago, Saturday, we had a family gathering, our first family gathering, and they made this unbelievable gluten-free chocolate cake for my son, and it was so beautiful and it was so amazing looking. And I
We've only
decided,
got
what?
we've only got like a couple of minutes. Do you want to
Okay.
should we do another one?
After this,
Yeah.
would you like to, or do we have to listen to Dr. Roxon?
No, because we can watch that on the we can't, how can't we get that on a replay?
I don't know if we can, but we can come back.
Okay, we'll come back. So I don't think we're going to run out of time.
Okay. I don't know what I was saying. Oh, I was saying,
Your
so
family
I
dinner.
spent the family, so, and they had a cheese plate, I had given up cheese, and I was fine. I had one little tiny corner, like the size of my thumb nail of it, and I thought, oh, okay, whatever. And then the next day, I was really pissed and I was really triggered that I didn't get to eat it. And so I ended up eating 4 forkfuls of the cake. Had I just eaten it at the time and enjoyed it, it would have been fine.
It would have been
Instead,
fun.
I was resentful. And I'm not usually like that. So I was just very, very triggered. So when I did the Rice Krispie cake this weekend, I'm like, I'm not getting triggered. I'm just going to friggin' eat a little tiny, what my idea of a slice is like a joke. It's like, the size of my thumb maybe. And so I had that, and that made me happy that I didn't have to be pissed that I didn't have it. And, I don't know why at this moment am I pissed, because, there are many times and many years where I'm just like, no, absolutely not. That wouldn't even, no, let me have a glass of water. And I can be just like that, as very
It
straight
might
and
be
narrow.
that the situation that we're in. It might be the situation that we're in. Like we're in this weird situation of life right now that doesn't really suit us, does it? Let's face it. We're normally out the door doing things,
Right.
and we're very inside. It's taken me probably the last 3.5 months to figure out through meditation, all sorts of self-care, self-love, ways of treating myself, how to not be triggered and cause myself any psychological issues in this situation.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that is true. I think that we, we definitely have we're really in survival mode. I mean, we really, really are. We really are. Okay, should we end and then just come right back?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I have to load it. So
Okay.
I'm not going to put any words. I'm just going to let it load. So just give me a second to come back. Okay.
Okay.
I hope you join us again.
Okay. Bye-bye.